I'm really excited to talk to you about the move of PHMC's headquarters from 260 South Broad Street to 1500 Market Street. It's a very, very important development in PHMC's evolution, and we're all very, very excited about it. A couple of years ago, we needed to look at the move of PHMC's offices because our lease was coming due, and we knew that this building would be sold, the building at 260 South Broad Street. We've been here over 25 years, and it's been a terrific home for PHMC. But like most things, in order to be innovative and to move on, change was needed. So we looked at a lot of options, but first, we started thinking about what kind of offices would we really want? What would really move PHMC ahead? How could we be innovative and leaders in the nonprofit public health and social services world? We've recently seen the information on the new Comcast Center, which will bring the same kind of open office architecture to the cutting-edge for-profit technology. We'll be in those offices years before Comcast. We'll be doing much of the same kind of work in collaborative, high-technology kinds of space. And we're very, very excited about that. We think that that underscores the decisions that we've been made. The excitement of this move really fits into a broader context. About 3 years ago, PHMC was facing a number of forward-thinking issues. First was obviously that our lease was running out and we knew we'd have to move. But at the same time, we knew that we needed a new strategic plan, a plan that would move us into the future aggressively, and that we would be involved in disruptive innovation, that we would be doing this important work in a new way. So we created a new strategic plan. We worked with our board of directors, our staff, our leadership, all came together and developed a robust strategic plan that will really serve PHMC for the years to come. Throughout this process, creativity, collaboration, and innovation were our hallmarks. For our over 40 years of work, these have been the important things that we focused on, and more we knew that we needed to be a trailblazer in these areas. During our past history, which we're very proud of, we have always been seen as a first-rate organization doing new things in new ways, a trailblazer, again, in the world that we work in public health. We see this as an opportunity to continue that history while developing new programs, new ideas, and new collaborations that we can better serve the people that we care so much about. It's our hope that by combining governance, new strategic plan, new ways of organizationally doing things, with the new physical facility at 1500 as well as throughout our other programs, we're really going to be able to stay at the top of the kind of work that we do within our field. We're very excited about it, and we look forward to working with each of you in moving this forward.
As more companies start to realize the value of what employees can contribute to the organizations, what they start to realize is silos really limit those opportunities. So we start to see more and more organizations in pretty much every industry, whether it's the government, it's for-profit, it's the private sector, the nonprofits, they're all starting to figure out ways to get employees to engage more robustly with each other. So the idea of having these open environments is to kind of give them a sense of transparency so they can see what other people are doing, they get a sense of what the organization is doing, and a better tie to the overall mission of the organization. It's been very interesting to work with PHMC in the nonprofit sector because they're certainly following a business mentality that I see in the private sector.
So one of the first things that we did was we developed workspace standards. That was part of the programming. And we worked with various furniture manufacturers. We went to look at various manufacturers' sites, and we selected Skillcase as the product, and we worked with them to, we developed a space plan based on that standard. The design of the space is industrial chic. This is a great old 1970s building that is the largest concrete complex on the eastern seaboard. It has a waffle slab, which you may be able to see in the photograph. And so because of the unique character of the architecture, we exposed it. And it's a combination of a very slick industrial finishes and partitions, which make it functional, but placing that slip feeling next to the roughness of the concrete and rusted pipes and insulation. For acoustics, we have floating clouds that still allow you to see the structure of the building, but enable us to control the sound absorption within the space. So you'll see that throughout.
The way we came about creating the space was to start originally with the folks at PHMC. We had extensive surveys with both the leadership and the staff to find out what kind of space they'd like to work in. We also took a few tours and did a lot of research and of course a lot of practical experience at Bradford and Karate in order to create the space that they are going to be moving into. One of the main things was to create a lot more meeting and collaborative spaces for a lot more team building, team collaboration. With the advent of everyone using laptops, you now have a choice at PHMC of where you'd like to work.
The concept of our new offices has been, since early in our planning, an open office concept. And we knew that we didn't want many walls, we wanted a lot of collaboration. So in order to really test that concept, we went and created a pilot space at 260 South Broad on the 18th floor, as many of you know. There were raw columns like this because that's the kind of columns that we'll have in the new space. The space had glass walls, open ceiling, cement on the floor, just like we're going to have, because we wanted you to live in that space with the same kind of furniture. And that started now a number of months ago, and several of the various components of PHMC have gone through that space. One of the great points of it is that we got a lot of feedback from the people in the space, and we've refined the technology that we'll be using at 1500 from what we learned at 260 in our pilot space. You've seen what it'll look like, you've been in it, you've worked in it, you've given us feedback, we're using that feedback. All of that will be integrated into the space at 1500.
Our group spent about 2 months in the pilot space. Initially, we were a little apprehensive, but we were open and to the experience, and so overall we had a positive experience. I think that the open floor plan really facilitated a great deal of discussion, information sharing, and collaboration amongst the staff. In terms of helping the team kind of transition into the space, I thought it was really important for me to use all of the spaces and really be able to model how each of the spaces and work areas facilitate the work that we do. The other thing that they identified is their comfort level in working in the workstations when their partitions were lower than the work areas that they have right now. So initially they felt very apprehensive that they would be pretty much staring against the person that was across from them, but in fact, really when they were collaborating and sharing information, they did that very comfortably, and when they were doing their own work, either typing service notes or talking on the phone, then that's what they did. So even though initially they felt apprehensive, they really learned to work in that space, and it didn't become a level of discomfort for them. So the other thing that staff really identified is the storage and their need for storage. And although, again, initially they thought that that was going to be a challenge, in fact, when they were there, they realized that what they brought to the pilot space was just what they needed, and there was plenty of storage for the things that they needed on a day-to-day basis.
I have to admit, in the beginning, it was a little challenging, and it took a little bit of an adjustment. You had to learn to think outside of the box and get creative in the way you do your day-to-day job. I'm accustomed to having a big cubicle, and here you had very limited space, so I had to adjust my way of doing things. For instance, instead of having physical paper files, I ended up scanning a lot of things and doing things electronically. The noise level at times would be a little distracting, so I had to use my headphones, listen to music or whatever soothes me to get me through the day and to block things out. I did find that my energy level was much more higher in the space due to the brightness, whereas in my old space, once I went back, it was kind of depressing, to be honest. And I really did miss the fact that I had that multifunction device in that pilot space.
In this design, and what we've done is tried to create a space where no one has ownership of the exterior windows. All the offices are inboard, all the conference spaces, unless they're open or on the inside, and all the exterior window daylight, natural daylight, comes in and is enjoyed by everyone and shared by everyone.
Facebook and Twitter have sound bites and pieces of information that you get from friends. The work environment needs that same instantaneous communication. And open plan, the way it's designed in your new space, will enhance that communication.
There's a 3-story communicating stair that helps with the vertical communication with all the staff that we created by punching a hole through 3 floors of concrete slab.
Designed the actual workstations or tweak the actual workstations after you had an opportunity to use the pilot state. Some of the changes that we made that were comments was we had used a opaque glass or a frosted glass in some of the offices, and we found that the managers actually preferred to have open glass so that they could feel as part of the team, and then the team felt connected to the managers in the area. Some of the other things was we did change the lockers. That was a comment that was brought up quite a bit about the clanging of the metal lockers. We now have a product called a phenolic, which is a dense resin that's much quieter, and also the size is much larger. So we did take your comments seriously that we provided.
The fact that you've really embraced change as a process. It's about taking this opportunity to really start to look at how your space can start to drive some changes with behaviors that are going to reflect upon how successful you be with supporting your customer base. The cultural shift that PHMC is trying to make is all about evolving the organization to be better. And that's always a great goal for organizations. It's really, I get to work with organizations all over North America. And PHMC is actually, I would say, put it pretty much on the forefront of understanding the value of the investment they're making in this new space to take your culture forward. And that's an opportunity to really think about how you start to bring everybody and make them part of the solution.
This new space, as you'll all see, we really do that because there's nothing but creative spaces where people from all over can come together, and out of that we think we can sort of dream and innovate and really make PHMC launch into the next future, into the future, as well as also engage both younger and also older team members. So we're really excited about it. So from my perspective, it really is a combination of a written strategic plan that we've implemented, and we've been very successful. Think about it, we just expanded, we just doubled in size as an organization, but now we're also taking that expansion, that innovation into a new physical space, and that will be the new PHMC and the new culture. Really, I grew up in Scandinavia or Denmark, and for years the Scandinavian culture has always been collaboration. So some of the furniture designs and some of the designs, is really something I grew up with. So it's a little bit of a return to what I'm very comfortable with, which is really the idea that it's everybody's space, and nobody takes the windows, that everybody learns how to work together, utilizing space in new ways. But again, from my perspective, it is really, I know it works because I've seen it and I grew up with it, which is probably different from some folks here. So very exciting times. And I hope everyone really realizes what kind of opportunities it's going to create for all of them to get to know one another, but more importantly, what that's going to allow for really folks working together, trying to figure out how to improve their programs and services, and dream big. It's all about dreaming of new opportunities, new programs, new services, all of it to really provide more and better services to the more than 250,000 people that we touch right now.
My team and I are also involved in PHMC's physical story outside of 1500 Market Street. We help identify the real estate needs for the programs, working closely with the architects and program directors to construct their new facilities. A lot of time and attention to detail has gone into customizing the space for our staff. We're in a historic building with established management and security processes. What's really exciting is our town square. We have established relationships with vendors for our cafe and gym, and we have a conference center that has the capacity to hold 150 staff.
I've been focused on how the move will impact employees and how human resources can help ready the organization for the changes ahead. We've also been involved in creating an employee resource center, PHMC Help, which is a hub for employees to come to have a variety of their needs met related to human resources, fiscal, and IT. Some of the services available will be access to human resource forms and documents, token and petty cash distribution, services for mobile devices and other. I'm also excited that our move corresponds with the recent implementation of the Human Resource Management System, which is improving workflow processes. So how are they connected? Our move, our new location, and the Human Resource Management System will allow for greater transparency, access to employees' resources and information. And there are many new benefits and amenities for employees. There is the PHMC Cafe, which will offer healthy food choices. There is a staff state-of-the-art gym with equipment such as treadmills. Weekly exercise classes will be offered. There will be state-of-the-art meeting facilities which will encourage greater collaboration with employees and staff.
My role related to the move has been primarily focused on all the financial aspects of the move. I've basically, from the beginning of the process, I've been involved in determining the build-out requirements, the tenant improvement allowance, the square footage, and looking to try to come up with what is affordable and realistic and reasonable for PHMC. This has been primarily a collaborative effort. I've worked closely with Richard and the real estate team, and we've looked to try to do this because we understand that this is really a game changer in a lot of ways for PHMC, in that we're moving into new space and a more efficient and open environment. It's important for employees to realize that most of the cost related to the move will be funded through various sources related to the contributions from the landlord and tenant improvements, and also from real estate agents and other folks that are involved with the move. So we're basically looking at trying to keep the rental cost in line with where we would be what we would have been spending at 260 South Broad, covered through other contributions and other sources. And about 10 or 15% of that of the cost will be done through through a debt financing and PHMC working capital.
First of all, that we anticipated this move from a technology perspective by taking our large data center and moving it off-site, and in doing so making sure that we had improved performance for data transmission, and we were taking up less real estate for racks and racks of servers. 1,500 were going to be built for mobility. There will be wall-to-wall, workstation-to-workstation wireless capability. Wherever you are in the building, you will have wireless access. We're increasing our bandwidth, and everyone's going to have a laptop. We've also moved to multifunction devices that will allow for printing, scanning, faxing, and copying, which are much more efficient, much more practical, and actually less expensive way of moving our paper and moving into more of a paperless environment. Also, we have moved into some planning around a centralized medical and client records room, so that employees will have better access to medical records, and it will also serve as a hub for scanning paper records into digital form, which of course is the future. We've taken the opportunity with this move to bring on a completely new phone system, which is voice over IP, fully hosted, state-of-the-art, that is going to allow, again, for a complete mobility of our staff, and not only the staff at 1,500, but we're going to be bringing this technology into all of our off-sites as well.
Part of this, the design development that we did with PHMC in the last year was to develop standards that will be used throughout all of PHMC's facilities, whether it's the main headquarters or their satellite facilities. Sandy and I worked on the Health Connection, Rising Sun more recently, and go back as far as the Mary Howard Health Center, Care Clinic, and a few other projects.
So both Rising Sun Child Link and Health Connections were done in 2013, and we're just finishing up the bridge project. We use a lot of the same standards in those spaces. I think, whether it's the open plan workstations, or glass offices and glass conference rooms, and we're just trying to create a branding theme for PHMC, so at a higher level than you would see at most clinics and facilities throughout Philadelphia.
But what is most exciting is that our new space has been designed and built for our needs, for our employees' needs. It is our space.
And so this is an opportunity for people to come together and start to share ideas more effectively, to leverage their co-workers' experiences, to sort of find out how they can better take the organization forward, how they can serve their serve the community more effectively, and all of those things are great attributes. And I think that in a space like this, where people are going to be much better connected, they're going to have a better sense of the organization, they're going to understand more about the programs and the affiliations and at an enterprise level, and helping people to see where they fit is always really empowering, because now they know what else they can do to really make the organization more successful.
Space can, again, create a really important ability for people to come together. And it's not just about PHMC, it's also bringing our colleagues from outside in, and actually make them feel good about, wow, here's an agency that is really taking public health to the next level and saying we are all about collaboration, we're all about figuring out how can we do the best, new, better services, how can we actually enhance what we're doing, how can we do that in partnership with others in the community. So I think it's not just about us as an organization, but also how we bring our partners in as a public health model and work with them, and again utilize that space for folks to feel good, but also to make them realize that space can be used to create strong partnerships for the future.
All of these initiatives that I've been overseeing, that our information services staff have been working hard to bring to fruition in collaboration with facilities and other departments, are going to allow for greater space efficiency, mobility, a paperless environment, really going green, saving the trees, and mostly allowing our employees to work together collaboratively, freely, and creatively.
Change never comes easy for people. This will have lots of things that each of us will have to do to make this go well. And I'm asking your help in getting us where we need to go. It will take cooperation, it will take excitement from all of us, it will take working together. Collaboration, the word of the day, in getting where we will really find new offices that will help us do the kind of work that we need to do into the future. So I ask that you understand when there are things that don't go perfectly, it's all not going to go exactly as we want. Understand the complexity of what we're doing, all of the work that so many of your colleagues have put into it, and the excitement that we all join together in getting to our new offices. As I said, the journey will be exciting, it will be terrific, and I can't wait to be there with you. All the best to each of you, and thanks. Let's get moving.